And hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I see we already got quite a few people in the Discord. And if you're joining us from Twitch, hello from Twitch. We have a stand-in video thing, so I'm really hoping it doesn't explode. But if it does, I'm sorry. You can check us out at Discord at any time. And hi, Christine. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I love the mask on your wall. That's so cool.
Thank you. I just moved, and so my office is very minimalist for right now. So before this stream, I nailed that to the wall because I was
huge
like,
fan. It's like this like check out my crib, and it's just like the lawn chair and a TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the same vibes.
Hello, I'm TV. Welcome to my crib. Here's my Borderlands mask. Yeah, how's the move? How'd the move treat you?
Oh, it was great. Moving across the country is completely easy and seamless and not difficult at all.
No problems, I imagine, ever happens when you do that, actually.
No, for sure.
Where, if you don't mind me asking, east, west, north, south, whereabouts?
I won't say exactly for personal reasons, but the PNW area.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So big move across the country is crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
Hopefully.
And I do want to say thank you to those who are in the audience right now. I didn't expect this many people to show up, and I am very flattered that you would.
Yeah, everybody was really excited for this one. I know. Like in the more like mod section, we were really hyped to have another Gearbox gal come and talk because you guys are so fun to talk to.
Oh yeah.
So very excited, very excited. But for those maybe who have no idea who you are or are joining in kind of out of the blue, do you want to introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure thing. Well, I'm Christine. I am an associate producer at Gearbox Software. I work on Borderlands 4. Worked on the game that came out in September, and then I also work on all the DLC that has come out. Today we actually just announced Batting Pack 3 and Takedown. So very, very exciting times.
Exciting, yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Was Borderlands 4 your first like name on a project I'm producing?
Yes, it was for producing.
Yeah, how was that?
That was crazy. It was such a great feeling at the end of development to see my name and the name of all my friends and colleagues in the credits. The nice thing about Borderlands 4 in particular was they let us do special thanks, and so I ended up doing a memorial for my dad who passed during the development of Borderlands 4. So that was really special to me.
That's really sweet. I didn't know they did like a special thanks section. So that's got to mean a lot, right? To be able to kind of see it on the page, so to speak, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. If you scroll to the bottom of the credits, you can hit X. Sometimes I'll just go in and I'll scroll the bottom. I'll check out the special thanks to get myself hyped.
That's so cool. Yeah, I know like the games industry has kind of always had maybe a little bit of a problem like making sure to credit everyone. So the fact that they did that and let you guys like add stuff that's really cool. That's really special for the team, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. And you thank you guys for I was just gonna say thank you guys for having me come speak today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're definitely fans. I can't remember if Esther or Stacy reached out to you, but whoever it was, they kind of brought you up and they were like, we should absolutely have this. And we're so grateful that you made the time to come, especially on a nice, beautiful evening in the summer that we're making you sit down mid unpacking to interview. It feels like an interrogation, and I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. I went for my golden retriever walk before this, so.
Yeah, like actual golden retriever or like
no, I am the golden retriever.
Yeah, okay, great. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have to go for my walk every few hours, so else I go a little stir crazy. But
we did the same thing in COVID. We called them our mental health walks, and we would do like a loop around the house so we wouldn't go insane. Truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you gotten a chance to like see the area that you've kind of moved into yet? Like explore it all?
Yeah, I mean, just looking out my window, there's mountains and trees, so it's
Wow.
already a lovely time out here.
That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. I bet that's like a big change of scenery too, if you're moving cross country.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you said prior to having your name producer production wise, you had been obviously involved in projects previously. What kind of things were you doing other than producing?
Yeah, so credits, like you mentioned, in the game industry are really interesting. I've worked on a number of projects where my name will never be in the credits, unfortunately, either because they're mobile and mobile doesn't really do credits, or just various comings and goings. But I will say for the games my name is in, I did one as a community manager for a company called 𝗕𝗥𝗘𝗦.
Very cool, yeah.
Yeah, I did the Grande HD remake, and my name's in there as community manager. So that was I think that was my first big named credit. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. And how many years ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
That was, oh my god, what is time? 7 years ago now, I think. 7 or 6 or 7 years ago. How awful is that?
That's like 2020. That's horrible.
Yeah. It's a crazy time to think about when you look back. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, things are turning 10 and it's like upsetting me in a way I didn't know was like a possible thing until I started to hit my like quarter life crisis. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I have my 10-year college reunion coming up, so I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, awesome. Linear time is so cool. Love it.
For sure.
But oh yeah, Walls, if you're in the chat, it is recorded, absolutely. We keep it recorded on Twitch for like I think the 24 hours, and then it hops over to YouTube. So you're absolutely welcome to check that out after, just so before you dip. So have a good one. But yeah, so Christine, you started in community management then, or was that more of a like the opportunity presented itself and you were always headed for production, or kind of how was your path to get to where you are now?
That's a great question.
In
I
four
love that
words
question.
or less.
Yeah. Well, just for everyone here, I've been in the industry almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And the majority of my experience was in community management, influencer marketing, and PR. Because when you work in indie games, you wear a lot of hats, as I'm sure a lot of the speakers on the series will tell you. So I worked mainly in communications, and I never really had a real plan of going into production. It was more like a strong interest that I turned into a reality. When I saw how so sorry. I'm
No, you're all good. You're all good.
I had worked on a documentary for Gearbox.
Oh no way!
Yeah, it was called Adagio for Homeworld was the name of the documentary, but it was a music documentary about the Homeworld series, which has been around since I think since like 95, if I'm getting my dates right.
Okay, yeah.
But the series is like really fantastic. It's about refugees trying to get away from a horrible situation. But the main piece in the game is a song called Adagio for Strings. And so we met with the composer in Canada, and we interviewed him, and we did this whole thing, and it was really cool. And I was like, I want to be a producer now. I think that was kind of like my aha moment, where I was like, I love community management, but I want to be a producer, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a like a point, not point A to point B, but you know what I mean? That's such a like a fortuitous, like seeing it in the moment and being like, oh, okay, this is what I want to do.
Absolutely.
This is a call. And
I think I'll always love community management and would always love to get involved in it. again to some degree someday, but I think right now production is my thing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's always good to like switch things up too, especially in like a creative scene, even if you're not doing like necessarily like what people consider like the hands-on creative like pipeline, like just bouncing around like different roles and seeing like those creative like spaces and how people interact too. I imagine it's like a different vibe in both of those, like in production and in community management.
Yeah, I would say yes and no to that. There's definitely a lot of crossover in personalities and mindsets, and the amount of collaboration that happens between those kind of two not industries, jobs. That I think makes it a little bit easier switching over. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're all creatives.
Yeah, exactly. So, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very creative people, both in community, both in production. And never let anyone tell you producer can't be creative, because that's just...
No, honestly, like it's such a weird stigma to assume like art, writing, music kind of thing are like the only spaces. It's like anybody involved in games in general, from what I've met, are like insanely creative people, and often involved in that process more than people like to realize, I think, for sure.
Yeah, even down to programmers. I mean, programmers are some of the most creative people I've ever met, and truly so smart too. I could go on about our programmers, but
no, programmers are like, it's like awe and fear at the same time. I don't know how it works, and it scares me a little bit, but man, are they doing a good job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
For those who maybe don't know about what a producer is, would you mind explaining that very briefly?
Yeah, so I mean, oh my god, production has so many different meanings depending on what industry you are in and what you're doing. I think for the games industry, a lot of the time, production and program management are kind of not interchangeable, but we do a lot of the same things.
Oh, okay.
And so you could end up being on a project where you're doing more project management stuff, or you're doing more actual like true production stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about keeping the teams going, whether that's, in morale, in needs for the project, championing what they're doing, making sure that they're not overscoped. So it's a really great job, I think, to be in if you really want to help a project thrive and really be at the center of it all.
Yeah, you do really have to have your hand in like every single jar along the way, I imagine. And how do you find like that similar to, like you were saying, like the community management role, and how they kind of share some responsibilities?
I mean, I've heard this said for both production and community management, that it's kind of like herding cats.
Yeah.
But I feel like with community management, it is very much about you appeal to an audience, you work with the community. On the production side, you're appealing to your to whatever developers you're working with. You're working with that community, so it's still very much working with individuals to help a collective. I would say in both situations.
Okay, yeah. So I guess there is like a lot of overlap. It's just kind of the space that you're doing it in that changes, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I can't say this for every project, because when I started in indie games, I worked on a game called 𝗕𝗥𝗘𝗦, which if you haven't heard of, please go check it out.
Love the name. That's so good.
Yeah, no, it's such a cool game. Just so you guys are aware, it's a game where you're a wizard and you attack other wizards, and the more kills you get, the longer your beard grows. That was the whole point.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure Stacy's grabbing the link now, so if you guys want to check it out, please do.
Thank you, Stacy. But yeah, with that game, working on that, I was really, really close to the development as a community manager, which was different from kind of how it was on maybe other companies.
Okay.
So it really depends on like organizational structure and all that. But I think with production, the thing I really like about it is I can kind of also be knee deep in the development process and really be involved with that.
Yeah.
Too. So it's a really cool position if you like being close to creative, but you also like data. I work with like spreadsheets and all these different things every day. You have to have a really strong Excel knowledge, but I love it. I started in my degree, and sorry if I'm skipping ahead.
No, I was going to ask actually. No, this is perfect. What a beautiful segue. Yeah.
Thank you. My degree is in environmental science and sustainability.
Nice.
And I also have a minor in arts administration and museology.
Okay.
Long ways to say I like science, I like museums. I wanted to put those two things together.
Yeah.
So originally I wanted to be a curator at science museums.
Okay.
So I did that a lot in college. I worked at the Museum of Natural History in New York. If any of you know where that is. I worked in a lot of local museums, and I thought for sure I was gonna be in museums at this point, but life took a different turn, and I'm in games now.
I'm coming from a science, like a biology major too, so I definitely get the vibe of like, I'm going into STEM and nobody can stop me, and then suddenly it's a completely different vibe.
Yeah, I'm still in STEM, I'm just on the different layer of STEM, I guess.
Exactly, we just migrated over.
Yeah.
I can still see the similarities though with like the curating and keeping everything like organized and kind of manufactured and setting up and all of that. Like there is that kind of overlap still with producing and all of that. I can definitely see for sure.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with transferable skills. It does. That's the thing I really like about the games industry. Every single person I've worked with, when we were just talking about this today in a meeting I was in, but how many different developers have different degrees outside of the general gaming industry? And there are some who have gone to gaming colleges focused on like game design, not gaming colleges. I got that wrong.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Like a game major, game centric.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that they have really, really strong skills, and they were really knowledgeable about the industry before they even got into it. But I also find that people with varied backgrounds and interests also carry a lot of weight behind being a producer, behind whatever position they're working in. It's just interesting how it works out that way.
It is crazy. I think games is probably like the most that I've seen out of everything, where people are like completely different walks of life, completely different backgrounds, sometimes like brand new to the country and like migrating around a lot. Sometimes they've been there for 25 years. It's a crazy diverse kind of spread of folks for sure. But
yeah, absolutely. I've worked with developers who came out, even producers who came out to the US and were learning English on the job, and they're some of my favorite people I've worked with. But it was really always cool to hear them. I think different languages are beautiful. I wish I could speak a different. I am like I'm beginner in French, and I'm trying to learn Danish currently.
Very cool. Okay, that's a tough one.
I don't know why. I got obsessed with the show on Netflix, and now I want to learn Danish. But I think different languages and different cultures are just so beautiful. I had the honor of going to Gamescom this year, and
awesome.
Speaking with a lot of those developers and a lot of those companies, I just so enamored by what they did. But that's a long-winded way to say, all different kinds of people make up this industry, and I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, you touched on a great topic too, that it's much more international now than I imagined like it even was like a decade ago. Like, personally, like I started in the industry like kind of feeling my way into it while I was still in Japan. I know some people are over in Asia right now. Some people are, I mean, a majority of folks are in like America, Canada region, but we've got folks from everywhere, honestly. So it's much more accessible, I think, now. How are you finding it? Do you think it's like kind of become more accessible over the years, or if it's kind of streamlining into certain spaces?
I think we still have a long way to go, but I'm definitely talking with a lot of different developers in the indie scene and even in the AAA scene. I think we've definitely grown as an industry when it comes to that. I know a lot of game development is expanding in like places like New Zealand. I know they're starting to build up. I know that like in I believe it's Poland, or at least I've met like a handful of Polish developers. Who have kind of taken over the PAX scene, the PAX convention scene. So it's definitely growing, and there's something I'm part of called the Game Industry Gathering, where you meet once a month and you talk with different developers who are also part of this collective. And I have met more developers outside the US that way than I have with anything else I've ever done. And so it's really exciting to see how that's growing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I know a lot of folks here may not necessarily like have the kind of ability to kind of attend these like larger scale events, like be it, disability, just personally don't want to go kind of thing. But we're finding too, like the online space for that as well has gotten a lot bigger for like being able to meet folks through events. So that's pretty cool too. But
yeah, absolutely. I will say the local scenes in a lot of places have grown in a way that I didn't think a lot of us knew was going to happen. And even in places like Ohio, like places like Florida, like maybe didn't necessarily have a huge game industry scene, are starting to grow more and more. So I think the local events are what I'm most interested in. I know in New York, when I was living in New York, when I was first starting out in the industry, we really didn't have a lot in terms of gaming. We had New York Comic-Con. We had,
I guess so,
some conventions that were growing around that. But as a industry scene, we didn't have a ton. And so it's been cool to see that kind of grow and take shape, and a lot more companies are becoming visible and growing there. So check out your local scenes. Like, if you don't know what they are, ask folks in your area if you know anyone. Like, hey, what's the local scene look like? I promise you'll have like a local indie something.
Truly.
To join or to get associated with while you're kind of figuring out what it is you actually want to do. I mean Midwest games industry was not on my checkoff list, on my bingo card for expecting to have a scene, but that's cool that they're kind of popping up in that. I know Canada's got the same thing where it's like it's such a big space that for a while it was kind of Quebec or Vancouver. But now you're seeing, like, even personally, you're seeing a lot of stuff come out of Toronto. You're seeing more stuff come out of kind of like our version of the Midwest, I guess, with like Alberta and Saskatchewan and all of that. So it really is cool. It's very uplifting to see the amount of folks that are creating these spaces where there are none, I guess, is the best way to put it. Yeah. It's nice to see people saying, oh, we're just going to make a space if there isn't one. And then kind of growing it from there.
Yeah, honestly. And like, for folks who can, like, if you're able to do like an in-person, like I truly, truly recommend doing an in-person meet. Like just being able to see and talk to people kind of live organically. It's a very different vibe, and I truly recommend it. It's really cool to be in the moment, I think.
Yeah, a lot of states actually have something called a game dev drink up.
Yeah. They have a Discord, I think, as well for like the event dates and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of states do host them. And if you don't have one, I know there are people who have started their own. and got involved with that. And when you go, you don't even have to drink. That's just the name of the event.
Yeah.
But it's a really good way to meet other developers, meet people, meet even students like you who are trying to break into the industry and have conversation that way. It's a really good opportunity to meet people who are at different times in their careers and getting involved in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, more than ever, right, is that kind of importance of maybe folks who are considered like senior veterans who have been in it, like you've been in it for 10 plus years now, versus folks who are maybe just stepping in and they're kind of like, oh God, everything's on fire. What do I do? Like, it's good to have those kind of spaces to mesh without it feeling too professional per se, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, I am. And I think there will always be a part of me that's really socially anxious, and I'm sure,
for sure,
a ton of people in the industry can relate.
Yeah.
And so going to these events where there's like a lot of camaraderie and a lot of acceptance and just a love for the industry is really, it kind of is uplifting when you go and you see other people and you get excited about the projects that they're working on. They get excited about what you're working on, and it's a really cool thing to see.
It really is. It's one of my favorite things about like even like the B2B kind of esque events, the XP summits that are held throughout Canada, is just seeing like these indie booths and stuff, and everybody's kind of like, they've seen each other before because it's such a tight-knit community and they're, you know, sharing their passion projects. It's very, very cool to see for sure.
Yeah.
For a very large company like Gearbox, how do you kind of find that space as a producer versus like we were talking about, like these indie spaces where groups are a little bit smaller? Now suddenly it's a very large team. How are you finding that sort of space?
That's a very interesting question. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's a really interesting question, and I like that a lot. I think really you can find community wherever you are.
Yeah.
And I think with the bigger studios, you find a lot of community within your own studio.
Okay, yeah.
We have a really cool culture at Gearbox, and I would say it's probably one of my favorite places that I've gotten to work in terms of the community that we've been able to build.
Yeah.
Whether that's in the studio, and you know, we have like Magic the Gathering nights that if you get to come out and play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
We've had movie nights at the studio. We've had
Cute.
But even outside of it, I see a lot of people, like even in my own experience, I have a really good group of friends who are also developers, and
Nice.
a lot of us were transplants when we started, so we kind of built that community. So it's really about seeing the community where you are and kind of building from that. So if you ever feel like you're alone, I promise you're not. There are other people at your studio, or you know, wherever you are in your schooling or your area, that you have people to connect to.
Yeah, that's such a great sentiment of like, it can be very overwhelming, especially in large crowds where people know each other, but truly it's a very welcoming group, I think. And I'm sure like Gearbox has that. I'm sure kind of a variety of, you know, spaces in the industry have that vibe for sure.
Yeah, I remember the first few years I was doing conventions, I had earbuds I would wear that were like kind of noise canceling, because when you go to a convention, there's like all the stimulation,
so much going on at once. Yep.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. There's things that you can do, whether you just want one-on-one conversation, or you want to go to event meetups, or you want to go to anything like that. But I remember hearing a phrase recently that your network is your net worth. And that is very, very, very true in this industry, especially.
Yes, yeah.
The more you build your community, the more you surround yourself with people, not even just like-minded like you, but just people to connect with and build relationships with, is very, very important.
Yeah, it is really it's so, I didn't really like believe it until I saw it kind of thing. Because I was like, I'm sure you got it from the environmental science background too. Like every job hunting is networking, but then you go into games and it's such a different beast to kind of tackle in terms of like how you network and who you network with and kind of how you treat that, you know, business relationship for sure. Do you have any like recommendations for people who maybe are also a little bit more on the like introverted or anxious side into kind of getting into that space or mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. A friend of mine gave me really good advice recently, and she said when she first started, she was very nervous and scared to talk to people. But the best thing, and she's one of the most extroverted people I know, so I was
always
very
how it goes. Yeah, yeah.
But she said, go to the food table.
Okay. Yeah.
And find people who are kind of gathered around the food table and try to find some conversation there, whether it's just like, hey, this is a cool spread. Hey,
Yeah.
do you like Gundam? You know, just a way to break the break up the awkwardness and start a conversation. And I won't say it's, you know, it's always going to be effective, but it's a really good way to kind of just start the conversation. Another piece of advice I got early on that I really feel works for that as well is, you know, 95% of this industry is just showing up. Just show up. Yeah. Just be there. Be in the place. Be at the event. Be at, you know, the panel.
Yeah.
It's really, really important to show up. And I know that, like you mentioned, like people with people where it's harder for them to either, you know, get to the event, or you may have a disability and it's harder for you to get the event. There are often ways at a lot of these events that are happening now that you can participate with actually physically being there. So if you have the chance to do that, that's a great way too.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, for sure. Like, I know like Entry Level partnered with a group that did a game jam recently, and we had folks who were like out of country and they were able to kind of participate through like a projected, you know, camera, and we had those kind of things going. And like it is definitely becoming more accessible for sure, especially at these convention spaces that have maybe a little bit more money to do so as well. It is good to see. Yeah,
and especially the events where they're having like some kind of Discord element, or you know, I remember back in, I think it was 2019 or 2020, whenever PAX did their digital events. And I remember everyone feeling really hesitant to do that because they thought nobody was going to show up. Yeah. And then a lot of people showed up digitally. And I think that, you know, having a hybrid event is a really good way to take advantage of that, but that's more just my opinion. No, I mean, I completely agree. Like you said, like I've met a lot of folks in the space who just don't have the opportunity to attend in person, like as much as I recommend it. And it's very uplifting to see that like there is now a space that isn't just like, here's the storage closet, go talk to each other in there kind of thing. Like now there's like an actual like dedicated space for it, which is really cool to see. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of events are building up, and it's a good thing to see. One thing I didn't bring up, and if that's okay with you. Yeah, absolutely. So I started my games industry career in journalism. Okay. And yeah. I found that for me, that was a really great way to get involved while I was in school. Because, you know, it's not like the IGNs or you know, anything like that, but I worked for an outlet called Gaming Access Weekly. Okay. And yeah. I did that for about 3 or 4 years. But it allowed me to get passes to places. And be in spaces that I may not have been in otherwise. It's actually how I met the developers, from 𝗕𝗥𝗘𝗧 and got involved with
Oh,
that
no
community.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really great way if you don't know a ton about the industry and you want to learn really quickly, writing about it, I would say is a really, really good place to start. But you don't even have to just write. People need, people to they need cameramen, they need hosts, they need community managers, they need, so there are a lot of these outlets, smaller outlets as well, who are going to these events. You can join up with them that way, and so that's just another avenue.
No, absolutely. I mean, like media passes are often like a separate pass for a reason, right? Like either you're working through it or you're volunteering. Like that's always a great way. We're big 𝗕𝗥𝗧𝗢𝗡 fans over here, so he does raffle. That's how I got to XP Summit, because when I started out, I could not afford a $600 ticket to a business event, and I know a lot of folks in the industry can't right now. So there's so many different like kind of avenues that you can take advantage of when you're early in the space, I think, or maybe like need extra assistance, so to speak. I think students get half off at a lot of events, or at least like some sort of a discount. So yeah, definitely. And like journalism is such a great way to like be able to speak, I imagine, one-on-one or one-on multiple people with like a team to actually like be like talking to the actual devs themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I would do one-on-ones with some of these developers, and they just stick you in a room and you talk for 45 minutes, and sometimes it's not even just about the game.
That's crazy. Yeah.
When I did the documentary with for Homeworld,
yeah.
We had 14-hour shoots.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we did it in about the course of 3 days. So
that'll do it.
But I remember I got the chance to talk to 𝗕𝗥𝗧𝗢𝗓 about The Evil Dead.
Okay.
And how we both really liked that series. And I was just like, that's a really cool thing that we have in common. Are we friends now?
That's a crazy, yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. He's such a talented composer. So now that's just, another person I have in my network who is also just a good friend now. And it's cool to think about that.
That's so cool.
But yeah, journalism, really, really good outlet. I'd also say another really good outlet if you're looking to kind of start your own community. Twitch is a really, really good way to learn about the industry from the technical side. I streamed for 6 years, and I was never really looking to, get famous or, become the biggest streamer. My mindset was to learn as much as I possibly could about broadcasting and how I could use that to break into the industry. I also love building that community, and that helped me a lot being a community manager.
I was gonna say,
and it taught me skills about like how to promote myself, which is another really good, big part of the industry. You have to be really, really good at promoting yourself in certain spaces, even when you don't want to.
Truly, yeah. You got to gas yourself up so much in games.
Yeah. It's I want to almost say don't be humble, but also at the same time, it's good to be a little humble.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's really is about raising the people around you up with you. As much as it is networking with people who have been in this industry a while. That's something that I think a lot of people kind of forget over time, that it's as much as the people to your left and your right as it is the person at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, truly. I've had some like absolutely wonderful conversations with people who are so many ladder rungs above where I am that it's like crazy to see it, but like when you take the chance to like speak to these people, 9 times out of 10, they're very outgoing and very willing to kind of hold these conversations as well, which is always super cool.
For sure.
Yeah. And it said, I know associate producer, like personally, I know what that is, but could you explain maybe where abouts that falls under like senior, intermediate, junior?
Yeah. So associate producer is kind of the next rung after production coordinator. So it's still, in a lot of spaces, considered still kind of junior.
Oh, okay.
But you could also be an associate producer for a number of years.
Yeah.
I have a lot of colleagues tell me that it's not about the amount of time that you're in a role, it's about the skills that you take with and the work that you put into it. And I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, you may be in a role for a number of years before you move up, just for various number of reasons. You'll see this across any position in any industry that you're in.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, associate producer is kind of the next rung up, and very excited to be in this role right now. To be honest.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome role. I definitely, I guess like you said, like I don't know if I'd consider it like a junior role, even though like the title wants to almost like place it in that space, but it's so much like, more like skill based determined.
Yeah, it's junior mid. I would say there's organizationally so many studios do it different ways, and even in the games industry itself, everybody has a different organizational structure. I spoke to someone the other day about what I want to be doing in 5 years, and there were even different titles for what we were talking about. So
literally, I was gonna say we interviewed somebody who was in technical art, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm in technical art," but like that wasn't even a term. However many years ago, they called it something completely different, and yeah, it's crazy.
So it's also about keeping up with the definitions within your industry and keeping on top of that. It's really, really important when you're interviewing and having conversations with other people.
For sure. On that topic, actually, like for production producing in general, what are the kind of like key titles that you would recommend people keep in mind when they're maybe looking for that sort of job in the industry?
With producer, it's pretty straightforward. You've got producer, associate producer, production coordinator. I've seen, I'm trying to remember the one I saw the other day, but it was like, assistant coordinator.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is the first time I had seen that, but apparently it exists. And it's akin to production coordinator. At least this company was.
Yeah.
So, sometimes things like assistant, associate have weird crossover at the entry level, but I mean, if you see a job posting, I would always look more at the description than the title itself to see if that fits where you really are in the current time. And even if you don't have all the years that they say on the job description, I would still say, like, if you're close enough, still try to apply for it anyway, because sometimes that means different things to different people.
For sure. Some people are like super like hard on the like amount of years you've done, and I've had things where it's like much more flexible depending on like where you were or like what you were doing specifically previously. I imagine like you had similar things, especially with like community management. Like it's such a fluid space kind of thing for that.
Yeah, and even community managers, that is such a new role.
Yeah, right? Like
industry. And it still definitely means different things. And I will definitely say to people as a cautionary tale, you could be as a community manager and end up being a social media manager. Or you could be a community manager and end up handling influencer marketing.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what your interest is, and you really have to call that out in your interviews and make sure that the role that you're applying for is actually what you want to be applying your skills to.
Yeah, it truly is like the best like other example I can come up with outside the industry is like the sandwich artist title of it all, where it's like at Subway they don't call you like at the cash or like somebody who like a food prep, they call you a sandwich artist up here. And it's very much like that. It's like a completely different title for a role that maybe has a better known name to it as well. And it's kind of like learning to make that connection and be like, oh, these skills are the exact same thing, even though the names are maybe like completely far left field kind of thing, like out of whack, for sure.
Yeah. And when you're interviewing a company, you're interviewing them as much as they are you. So it's okay to ask these questions to the recruiter early on, or even in your earlier interviews, because it's so important that you don't get stuck in a place that you don't want to be in early on.
That's a great point, eh? Do you have any like questions that you'd be like, this is a great one to ask if you want to kind of learn about the company?
I think the question of, if I joined today, what are the kind of problems that I would be solving is a pretty telling one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Because it opens the door for them to kind of talk about what kind of obstacles that you'll be handling, but it also lets you know, like, hey, is this something that I can actually tackle? Is this something that I want to tackle? It also kind of, I don't want to say Freudian slip, but it definitely allows for a larger conversation about, like,
for sure,
what's actually happening on the team. I think another one that I would use when kind of talking about that, you can just straight up ask, what is this role doing exactly? What will I be doing day to day? Don't be afraid to get blunt. I know it's always really nerve-wracking going into an interview, and trust me, I've done many an interview, and I understand. But it's a lot better to be blunt and honest up front than it is to get to the end of the interview and be in a position that you don't want.
That's a great point. Yeah, conserve your time and energy, right? By getting to the meat of it right away.
Your time and energy, despite anything, like, I understand that there's a lot of things outside of like a lot of pressures and things that people have, but your time and your energy is the most important thing that you have.
Truly, right? Like, especially like you said, like, especially in this industry where so many things outside of the job you're doing is energy and like talking related and networking related. Like, it's such an invaluable resource to have.
I feel like
to burn it out.
I feel like an old man shaking his stick at the clouds, but I mean, I remember just when I first started out, I had a lot more time and energy to put into the job reviews and finding jobs and having all that energy to run around as a journalist. These days, I have a lot less energy, I think, than I did. So it's really important to know where you're at. Just take a personal stock in yourself all the time and make sure that you're taking care of yourself as you're doing these things. I would say that's one of the most important things when you're doing in these in trying to get into the industry.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good way to put it. Like, it's easy to tell from the outside when you're burned out, and it's not as easy to tell like yourself personally that you are burnt out, kind of thing. So it really is important to check in with yourself, for sure. That's a great point to have.
Yeah, you're if you don't give yourself rest and grace and food, your body will do it for you, and not in the way that you like.
No, truly, your body will do it whether you like it or not. It's just you get to pick the time.
Yeah. So those are some of the questions and things I think I would say for getting into the industry.
Those are fantastic questions. I know, like, everybody's always told like the kind of same few, so it's always interesting to hear when like what sort of obstacles am I going to tackle. I think is a great one that I haven't heard before, actually. So that's always a very cool one to have.
Thank you.
But just before I kind of keep chatting, Stacey has dropped it for those of you in the chat on Twitch, on Discord, doesn't matter. If you have questions, we are about to like open up Q&A. So if you have any questions, we will prioritize those now. And then we'll just keep chatting for the rest of it. But please feel free to drop your questions in now.
Is there somewhere I should be looking for this, or are you guys?
No. You're all good. I'll read them out. And we've got one right away that says, question 1, I had someone the other day put down self-employed or like own brand experience. You mentioned streaming prior. How did that play a role in helping you acquire a position?
Yeah, so when you are first kind of starting out and you don't have a ton of experience in the industry, self-branding is very, very important. It could also be, a lot of people talk about transferable skills.
Yeah.
So if let's say you worked at an office somewhere, I can even use this as an example because I worked in the financial aid office at my college while I was trying to get through grad school. I put that on my resume originally because I could show how I could work with a community within my college within a very specific field. So it's all about how you take those skills, and going back to the streaming part is how do you take the skills that you've learned and apply them to those entry-level roles? Because it's just much about showing that you can do the role as it is about the thing that you did. So yeah, it's very important to highlight those skills, especially stats, numbers.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are keeping those as you are doing this. I had screenshots of my most my highest numbers in a folder somewhere so that I could apply those to my resume later.
Yeah.
Because people love to see that. People love to see numbers as you're writing your bullet points.
Yeah, I've heard, like, especially in, like, the social and community space, a lot of it is very, like, stats-based versus, like, I don't work in that field, so I'm not very familiar with it, but I've heard, like, a lot of, like, that kind of works as your portfolio.
Yeah, stats in community management and social media in particular, stats are really good to have, like, different things that you've, like, I had a 17% growth year over year. Like, that's an example that you can use. But even in non-data driven roles, like I worked with 5 large teams.
Yeah.
Still a stat that you can use on your resume, and it's still as equally important.
That's a great point too, eh? Like, just how many people you've worked, like, big or small, like, even like if you're like, oh, I worked in an indie team of like 5 people, it shows that, maybe you juggled several roles versus, oh, I worked with a team of 150, it means you're great at working with large groups. Like,
yeah,
for sure,
very true.
For sure.
Very, very
yeah. We got a question 2 here. Would you also recommend networking with places outside the games industry? I'm thinking of engaging in my local art community and robotics club at college.
Yeah, absolutely. So the games industry, as everyone probably knows, is going through a very interesting time. So it's always really good to have other networks that you are involved with, whether that's just a personal interest or something that you want to move into. Like I mentioned, I started with an environmental science degree, so even though I was studying to become, working with the curation museums, I was still involved with gaming communities outside of that. So yes, I think absolutely for sure I would definitely network with people outside of your immediate bubble. It's a very good thing to have, especially if you'd mentioned being in college, I believe.
Yes, at their college, yeah.
Getting involved in college groups is a fantastic place to start. I was the president of the gaming club at my college.
Way. Yeah.
But I was also involved in several other groups that had nothing to do with gaming, so it's a great place to start.
Yeah, college is also like very like friendly in that space, and that like you're kind of all in the same pool. You're all in that same like space, so it's a great way to meet people like that are kind of in the same space as you, even if your interests are totally different.
Yeah, I even had an interview right out of college with WWE.
Oh,
because a girl I went to high school with ended up working there. So it's like you really got to keep that network continuous and strong. So that's a great way to start.
Yeah, and like the question mentioned, I know like robotics and art community, like I'm sure it's not surprising, but like there's a ton of overlap in games with the art community and the robot community. So I'm sure like you guys will find even ground for sure to talk about regardless.
Absolutely. And even if there aren't people with those interests, there are definitely overlap from other communities. Like, I know a lot of people who are in the Navy are in the games industry. And
yeah, there's a ton of like veterans in the space. It was really surprising to me. And a lot of like senior people are like, oh yeah, I was in the Army for 5 years and then I came back.
Yeah, it's because they have a lot of those transferable skills.
Yeah.
Or I know somebody who recently I met who had a master's in bassoon, and they got into the industry. So you never really know.
No, truly, like you said at the start, right? Like everybody's coming from so many different walks of life. Like you can kind of find community anywhere, so to speak, for sure.
But I hope that answered their question.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it did for sure. And it looks like we've got one more question, which is perfect. Lewis is asking, how did you go from where you started at Gearbox to assistant producer? How important is being open to branching out to other roles at your company? I think you started as an associate producer at Gearbox, right?
No, I was I was a community manager at Gearbox.
Okay. I thought that was a different space. Okay.
Yeah. I was with Gearbox Publishing for 2.5 years before I moved over to Borderlands.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, like how I mentioned, there's a lot of community within studios. And I knew it was something I was really, really interested in. And so I reached out to one of the senior producers and I just had a chat with him. I said, hey, are you free? Nice. I have some questions I'd like to pass by you. And he was like, sure, absolutely. And so it's really about knowing who you can reach out to. And even if you don't, reaching out to them anyway, because they're still your colleague. So it's, there's still a lower barrier for entry because the respect is already there.
Yeah, for sure.
But you never know who will be willing to talk to you about different things when it comes to moving even within your own organization. So I wasn't, even before I knew I definitely wanted to move over, I was having base conversations with other producers, both in the organization and outside the organization, on, is this something that I really want to do before I move from something I've been doing for 5 to 7 years. So yeah, it was a move, but it was something I was really certain about because I had taken stock and questioned myself constantly.
Yeah. No, for sure, right? Absolutely.
I think you may have cut out there.
Yeah, my Discord has decided that it's actually like not...
Yeah, Discord is... I hope I'm not being funky.
You're great. Yeah, your voice is going through fine. The image is fine. It's just, it's punishing me for my hubris, I think. So I got too confident. There we go. Okay. Yeah, no. It literally, it's like you said, like, be confident, but have a little bit of humility. Didn't have that humility, and Discord put me in my place real quick.
Hey, if you weren't coming back, I was just gonna do a song break for a few minutes until you got
back. Yeah, interpretive dance. Like, be right back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So sorry, folks, if you're getting the world's most stuttery thing on my end. I promise everything else is working fine. It's literally just Discord being weird. But yeah. If anyone has any more questions, but I think we're heading to the end anyways.
I mean, I'm here if you want to throw a question. I promise I don't bite. And I couldn't hear even if, for some weird reason I wanted to.
Yeah, you got the digital barrier. There you go. Anyways, this is the safest time to ask Christine a question because there's no biting risk. Yeah, and kind of while we wait, just to make sure if there's any more questions. Thank you so much for like joining and like being able to chat for an hour today, Christine. I really appreciate it. It's always like super cool to see everything and where everyone's like coming from and like, your experience, everything. Like, we spoke to like our very first interview was with another associate producer, And like the answers you guys gave were completely different and your experiences were completely different. So it's always really cool to like get to hear it right from the person, for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I love talking with other producers as well, because everybody's experiences are so vastly different from each other.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you feel less alone in the industry. Not to get too philosophical here, but it feels less like a big void and more of a collective when you speak with other people. And like I mentioned, I can be an extreme introvert, but just having the ability to have even like a 5-minute conversation with one is 5-minute conversation with someone is so extremely important.
Oh yeah, and like I know, like again, like I know 𝗕𝗥𝗧𝗢𝗧 has mentioned it. I know a lot of people say it, but for those who haven't heard it before, like you're all in games. You like games. That's such a great jumping off point to talk about. That like truly like talk about what you love. Like people see the passion in it. People like to talk about it. They're in the industry, like for a reason, kind of thing, for sure.
Absolutely, I do see, and not to be a community manager right now, but I do see that I saw there were some questions in the chat. Did you want?
Yeah, 2 just popped up actually.
Okay, cool.
From Eric is asking, do you have any novel experiences hiring, onboarding people from the modding community or like the modding space in games at all?
Personally, I can't speak to any hiring that I've done personally, but I will say I've worked with people closely in the modding community. Homeworld had a huge modding presence. And so I was constantly having conversations with that audience on how we could work together. Because the modding community early in Homeworld was so large, and it kind of had fallen off since there were no new games. But then when the new game was announced, the modding community, came back in a really big way.
Exploded.
Yeah, so I definitely had conversations with them, and I will say I'm a fan of mods. I think some of my favorite mods are from Left 4 Dead.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I have a mod of one of the zombies running and screaming chocolate from SpongeBob.
Incredible. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So I will say it depends on the game you're looking at and the organization you're working with. It's really good to know who accepts modding and who doesn't, because that's also important to know if you are a modder and you wanna get involved.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to like transferable skills, right? Like I know, like even like Roblox and Minecraft, like those kind of spaces, people look like hiring like may potentially look specifically at folks who have done that sort of thing before, because it means they're comfortable in the engine. But
yeah, sorry, I didn't know Homeworld, but I saw someone's meme in the chat, and
I have to like put on like horse blinders when I do this, because they post the funniest thing and they're always like really quick with it too. So I'm like, I gotta maintain a professional opinion on everything, and then I like look over and it's Socrates. Like
amazing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're so okay. You're so okay. We always talk about like our community manager, like Stacy, has a GIF or like a little emoji for everything. And like when I say it will be the most niche reference you'll make, you'll see that GIF come out, and it makes my day. But yes, we have one more question from Juna again, who I believe asked the college group question as well. These days, there are a lot more like community spaces online. How would you go building up a strong community and connection in those online areas?
That's a great question. It really depends on what kind of community you want to build. I would always say starting in a place that doesn't have a lot of options is better than kind of trying to already break into a space that has a huge following. And I say this simply because if you get involved in a community that already exists, you can end up working alongside them. and then maybe build your own community down the line, or you could, continue working with them down the line and get really involved. So it really depends on what your aim is with building that community. I know for me, as when I was streaming, I was trying to build a horror community.
Okay, and yeah.
While that's a niche space, outward looking in, it's also an extremely big space in the gaming world, and just anything in general, movies, comics, like horror.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
So I did find myself in kind of a sea of horror streamers when I was trying to break out, but it also depends on how much you really care on numbers. Like personally, I was more focused on building one-on-one relationships with the people in my community, and because we were smaller, so you get a lot of impact that way as well. So I hope that answered your question. I know this is a maybe a cop-out answer, but it really depends on what you're looking for, what you're trying to do. So when you start a community, kind of look at what your goals are, and that can always change, but start with at least a base idea of where you want to get to and what you want to do.
I think that's a great answer. Yeah, like know what you're doing and kind of why you're doing it, right? And people will be able to see those goals, I think, manifest, especially if in such like a, not an influencer, but in a like a content-driven space, like any sort of community management. For sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if I was a smaller streamer, but I did still get invited by companies to get involved.
Nice.
At panels, where they're booths at PAX for horror panels.
Oh, cool! So, yeah.
If that's something that you're interested in too, that's also a really good avenue. If you start that way.
For sure.
And if you have something you're really interested in, community building is a really good way to build those relationships so that you can have more opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not saying build a community so you can do that, but can result in that. It is
for sure
unexpected result.
Especially with like how the numbers are now, right? Like niche doesn't necessarily mean like that you don't get noticed or you don't get invited to these things, because like these smaller communities are also getting highlighted now, especially in like community spaces. The horror thing makes sense now, that like Evil Dead, the Left 4 Dead mods, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's so bad. My Prime algorithm is a little scary right now because I've been watching so many horror movies recently in my very little free time.
That's so valid.
I try to stay on top of horror stuff.
That's so valid. That's so valid. I love watching people play them. Can't play them to save my life. I'm such a baby when it comes to playing horror games. But
yeah, I made the mistake of getting a heart monitor that you can connect.
Oh yeah.
And people loved scaring me for the numbers to go up. And I remember one stream it hit like 280 or something.
Oh,
and I need to like get up and walk away from the stream for a little bit. And I was like, well, anyway, I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah, heart attack live on Twitch TV for real.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe don't build a community that way, but like non-medically, yeah, lots of options.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah, but yeah, I think that was our last question. If we missed one, I'm so sorry, folks. And thank you for staying overtime. I really appreciate you hanging around to answer those last. Oh, we got one more.
I can answer it if that's okay with you.
Yeah, if that's all right with you. Ken is asking, how do you manage or detect in others representing the genuine care for community and spaces without feeling like you're catering to something?
That's interesting. I'm going to read it again to make sure that I am doing this question justice.
Yeah, it's a good question, Ken.
I think it's really easy to detect when people are BSing you.
Yes.
I think that you have to trust your gut in that sense and know a person's being genuine and when someone's kind of just doing things for the clout.
Yeah.
I think it's also a skill that you build over time just by interacting with people. So like we've been saying over and over, the more you interact with people, the more you know. But I don't think there's negative attention and there's positive attention.
Right.
And so sometimes people are reaching out to you because they want to collaborate towards a better goal. For example, I've had people reaching out to me because they want to do an event for a nonprofit. And even though they're just reaching out to me about that, that's a great goal. And they know that fits with my morals and my values. So it's also equally important knowing who your audience is that you're reaching out to and what they stand for and what they like. And so a really good way to start building that is to just have these little entry conversations with people like, hey, I noticed you like X, Y, and Z. I like X, Y, and Z. And don't go into it with the expectation that will eventually build into something, but every connection you make has the potential to build into something. So it's life is hard when you try to look at it as I'm going to get back this thing the minute that I do it. A lot of things take time and kind of consistency in what you're willing to get out of it.
For sure.
I remember so to use this as the last example, I met somebody at E3 in 2019.
Okay.
And I wasn't we had just connected on movies that we liked.
Okay,
and so I ended up moving to another. I was considering moving to another studio at the time, and I knew he was kind of parallel to the studio. He wasn't at the studio, but I said, "Hey, what do you think of this?"
Yeah,
and he ended up being my recommendation for the studio.
Oh, no way! Yeah.
So like you never really know. And I didn't go into those first conversations expecting to get something out of it. And this was years later that he ended up being my recommendation. But we just had conversations over the course of months of, hey, we're becoming good friends. I'm willing to bet on you for this thing. So
yeah, truly, like it's hard to not look at things transactionally in the kind of space especially in the West. But yeah, if you can like look past that and like you said, like they're saying in the chat, like being authentic and kind of representing authentic self, for sure, right? Like that's a great mindset.
And your authentic isn't going to be everyone's authentic.
Yeah.
I have to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's extremely outgoing. She's like energy bursting out the wazoo.
Yeah.
And we are two very different people. I may sometimes be more reserved or more quiet thinking.
Yeah.
But that's both our two very authentic selves. It's just we're very different authentic selves, and we can still make it work.
Of course.
For ourselves to get things done in different ways. But people will approach your authentic different than maybe somebody else like that's authentic. It doesn't mean it's wrong one way or the other. It's just how you present yourself.
Yeah, truly be true to you kind of thing. Like it's cheesy, it's it's corny, but truly the more you like represent yourself, I think the more people pick up on it pretty easily.
Yeah, it's like Mulan.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. That was a tough question, so thank you, Kim. But
thank you for that question.
Yeah, I think that was our last question for real this time.
Okay.
But thank you so much for sticking around extra to answer those. We had like a good kind of spread of questions there. I know a lot of people were really eager to kind of learn more about your story and game. So I really appreciate it, Christine.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you need someone to come back in a few years, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you back. And Stacy, I'm sure, is currently grabbing your socials, if not just about to. So folks, if you're not, following Christine or following her work, like, as always, we absolutely recommend you do. She's a very cool person. We only have cool people to interview, so we always recommend it. Yeah, there we go. Blue Sky, LinkedIn, X, all of that jazz. But yeah, thank you so much for spending your evening with us, Christine, and thank you for everyone who dropped in to listen or ask questions or all of that jazz as well. We really appreciate it.
I'm also in the Discord, so please don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
I'd love to continue being in this community because I really believe in what y'all are doing, and I think it's such a great thing to support our entry-level devs.
Well, it's super cool to see, like, again, like, I always have a soft spot for folks who are coming in the industry from, like, not, like, a specifically games degree. Those people are awesome too, obviously. But it's always cool to see people with, like, their own unique story come into games. So it was really, really cool talking to you today, for sure.
Hey, me too.
And good luck unboxing more than just your mask. I hope it's, you get to color things up soon, but they're
hidden in that closet back there. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll have like a chill weekend after this. But yeah. Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you guys for joining. We're gonna cancel the or rather we're gonna end the stream now. So thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.